Sir,
where I live.
thank you so much for giving your valuable time and letting me have this interview. And thank you for everything, sir. I may start
Very
this.
well.
So, sir, I'm going to start this with asking you about your early life, your life before you started bodybuilding, and what was your first, what was your motivation for starting bodybuilding, and who was your idol, who you look up to?
Well, I was an athlete long before bodybuilding.
So,
So I was a gymnast, I was a soccer player, and then an ice hockey player. So my goal was to be a professional soccer or hockey player.
wow. And then
So,
what transpired you to be a bodybuilder after that?
well, I used to go to the public pool, and our lifeguard was a bodybuilder.
Wow.
So first, when I saw that guy, I couldn't believe how this guy was looking. But I still was so engaged in soccer, so that was far of my mind kind of to become a bodybuilder. I did go to the gym a couple of times, but they didn't let me in because the age limit was 15.
Oh,
So
wow.
as I was 15 years old, I went to the gym to strengthen my legs, and I changed my mind in 15 minutes.
Wow. So,
I told my cousin, who worked out with me, says, you know what? I want to be a world championship bodybuilder. The feeling was just so unbelievable. I loved the feeling, the pump, and my cousin didn't know what I was talking about. It was also his first workout. I remember after the gym we had a coach, so who gave us an introduction. Then after the workout, we went around the gym, and I told him, I said, "Wow, my arms feel incredible. Let's go back tomorrow." He just looked at me in a weird way. He didn't really know. He didn't have any of those feelings. And of course, he never came back. I just had dinner with him last night, so we were laughing about that story. He just didn't get anything out of it. So he then moved on, went to Rome to guard the Pope. I don't know if you know that only Swiss people can guard the Pope.
yeah, yeah.
And I became a bodybuilder. So there
Wow.
was no going back to soccer. It was it. I totally changed my goals in one day.
Sir, do you think that there is a particular age for bodybuilding? Like you said, you were restricted to go to the gym at 15. So, do you think that there is any particular age to go to the gym? Or can anyone who ever, if it's 10 or years or 15 years or any age, can go to the gym?
Well, I mean, one thing certainly is true that you shouldn't take any dangerous supplements before your body is fully grown. So, when is the right age for somebody? That is really individual. Ronnie Coleman went to the gym much
Yeah,
later,
yeah.
and he became an 8-time Mr. Olympia.
Even I
I
think
think what
Arnold,
it is,
yeah, yes, sir, yeah.
go ahead.
Even I think Arnold is started bodybuilding at 14, I guess.
He started very early. He was
Yeah.
also done very early.
I,
So I think what it is it is a 10-year project. I tell this all of my guys, you have to commit to this for 10 years. If you're not willing to do that, don't even start.
yeah.
So if you start with 15, it's going to take you 10 years. If you start with 20, it's going to take you 10 years. If you start with 25, you're still only 35 when you're on your peaking. So it doesn't matter.
Sir,
It really doesn't matter.
the thing is, as you said, nobody should consume any dangerous supplement before a certain age. So, what's your take on guys who are around 19 or 20 and taking steroids at this moment? And
Well,
actually,
again, it's only secondary an age issue. I think what it is you should train for at least 5 years, hold a good diet for several years, be kind of knowledgeable with natural supplements. Once that's all in place and you worked for several years very hard, you see there is a talent. You know, you maybe did your first local show. You see there is a talent in this. I'm not just delusional and wasting my time here. Then you can do the next step. For most people, it should never happen, that next step. I mean, it's just, you see that very early in. It's not that suddenly you take supplements and you're growing into this great bodybuilder. You can see with most top bodybuilders, before they took supplements, they already had a pretty good body. So again, this is a very individual thing which everybody has to answer to themselves. I know the culture today is different. I know it's they start working out, and then a half year later, I want to do a show. At the same time, what kind of steroid thing can I buy? I mean, in some way, it's justified because there's different categories now.
Yeah.
You know, we have physique. I mean, you're not going to need 10 years to build a decent body physique. I get that. But also there, you wait out with the supplements as long as you can.
Yeah. So, what do you think that people who are, you are one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. So, for creating that type of physique, guys think that people need to have people have shortcut, but they don't see the hard work that goes on to make that body. What do you think the role of diet is for creating such a physique? The role of diet, not only supplements.
Well, it was told to us, you know, that diet is more important than workout. It's a 70-30 thing. I disagree. Everything is 100% important.
Yeah.
Once all the all the pieces fall in place, you get a complete puzzle. You know, diet is crazy important. Supplements are crazy important. Sleep is crazy important. Working out is crazy important. You know, at the end, you have to have all the pieces in place to be successful. So I don't know. I mean, without a good diet, everything is nothing. Without good workouts, everything is nothing. You know, so I would say everything is crazy important. Consistency, that's what it is about in this sport. You know.
Sir, do you think that lifting heavy is important to have a great physique, or you can even create a good physique with lighter weights?
Absolutely. Very often, the way you work out is kind of reflecting a little bit your personality.
Yeah.
To some degree. You know, I mean, I can really see Dorian Yates going to a gym and pumping for 2 hours. You know,
Yeah.
He is from a kind of hard-working neighborhood, kind of hard-working lower middle class background.
Yeah.
Where, for example, it also depends on your genetics. Dexter Jackson doesn't have to work out as hard as Dorian Yates. It doesn't mean he doesn't have to be consistent and work hard. But that way of training, he's more of a pump athlete. He's doing more volume training. It works great for him. Every system has its advantages and disadvantages. So if you're pumped for 2 hours, I mean, you need a lot of time, and you're probably not going to get injured, you know, the way a HIIT style athlete is. So the way I worked out, Monday morning, for example, I had my leg workout. It was many times possible, or every Monday possible, that it's the last day of my career, and it's maybe a little bit harsh. Maybe it's just my training were so on the limit of what a human being can do.
Yeah, I saw your videos with Nasir Sambati, and that was what inspired me.
I would say those were vacation workouts.
Yeah, those were light weights for you.
Yeah, so, you know, like I say, this is what workout style you choose, how you work out. There's like my father used to say, there's many ways leading you to Rome.
Yeah.
So it's very individual. I also, when I started a new client, I try at first not to get too involved into the workouts. I talk to them about the different styles I used. I started with the pyramid system. where
Yeah.
you kind of raise weight on every set, but very often you were holding back a little bit on the first or second set. And my biggest gains I made with the hit style system, so kind of an extended heavy duty system invented by Mike Manser. Later
Yeah.
on, I went back to a little bit more of a higher volume training, which was great too. So I used whatever I had to at the time to improve as much as possible to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. So the next thing is, as you talked about injury, you also had some injuries for many years back, I would say. And what do you think that injuries, the mental aspect, how to deal with injuries? People who go through injuries sometimes break down when they lose muscles. What should they do to keep their mental aspect right? Mentally?
Well, I mean, even most famous for my big injury, I didn't have really a lot of injuries during my
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
partially also because I was very young.
Yeah.
I'm sure would I have competed longer, injuries would have become more of an issue later in my career, or possibly. So whenever I had an injury, I always looked at the positive. I remember 98, my right patella started to cause me some problems. So I had to work out a little lighter, and I right away thought, okay, my left leg is slightly smaller anyway, so let's push the left leg, it's a chance.
Yeah.
So, this is always, you have to always be positive. Injuries will occur. The only reason, or the only way not to have injuries is to stay away from the gym. So you just try to work smart, you try to work hard but smart, not stupid, and when injuries happen, you have to make the best out of it. It's always a new chance. There's, okay, my forearms hurt, I can't focus on my pull down so much, so I'm going to switch to pullovers a little more and improve the thickness of my lats.
Yeah.
But it's always stepping forward, always making the next step. So, you can't get too depressed, by injuries. This is just not the way it works. Everybody will have them. It's just how you deal with them. That's the thing.
Sorry for that.
No problem.
Sir, you see the 90s and you see the today's, today's bodybuilder 90s. The biggest difference is that I think today's bodybuilder are lacking in aesthetics, which you all had in the 90s. You had you, then Kevin Levroni's, then Dorian Yates, who are aesthetic but with the mass. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's the most frequent question I get, and I was just talking to Jean-Pierre about that.
Yeah.
On his Digital Muscle interview.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, I'm not the guy who's going to tell you here it was so much better back in the days. The guys today are big. You look at Brandon Curry, and I know Brandon Curry in perfect shape would be the top 6 athlete in our era too. I know that. He's so thick. So one thing the guys today seem to do, they don't seem to diet down as much as we did. They don't seem to be willing to suffer as much as we had to. But why did we have to suffer this much? I mean, there's one reason, absolutely one reason, it was Dorian Yates.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the black and white pictures of 92, 93. It was a shock to all of us. We never seen a human being like that. So we better all got our act together. And can you imagine you go to Mr. Olympia, challenging Dorian Yates, and you're not ripped?
Then you will be last position.
He would kill you up there.
Yeah.
So and then another thing is, look at the USA Championship in the 90s and the overall winners every year. It was just, maybe by accident, an assembly of talent in a very short time entering the pro scene. So you had, when you looked at the US champions, you had Gary Stridham, Lila Brada, Chris Cormier, Flex Wheeler, every year. I seen the finale of the 92 NPC Junior Nationals. Ronnie Coleman placed 4th.
Yeah.
Flex Wheeler 2nd. Paul DeMayo, I think, was 3rd. Kevin Levroni 1st. Matt Mendenhall 5th. Compare that with a lineup today. So there might be a phase, ahead of us where suddenly a series of great athletes enter the sport at the same time. So what is the big difference? I think that's one of the big differences, pretty much accidentally.
Yeah.
Dorian Yates, another big difference. He really kept us on our toes. He made sure we're all training as hard as we could, you know. So, but like I said, Brandon Curry, he would have been a top athlete in our generation, like also in this generation. So I'm convinced about that.
Really, I saw your photos in the back in the days. Your back almost resembled to Dorian somehow. And people say you had one of the greatest back, but I would say that you had one of the greatest legs too. Those calves and those things, even calves don't exist in today's bodybuilders. We don't see that more often, like in the 90s.
Yeah, what's up with that? You know, I believe it's simply an issue of judging. You know, if they don't punish the guys for it, and I don't see any form of punishment when you show up without calves. You know, I remember guys in our era which didn't have calves, so they started, who the hell know what to do, legal and illegal, to have somewhat calves. Today it doesn't seem to matter. You know, you show up there with whatever calves you have, and you place exactly the same way you would place with calves. So that's kind of sad. So I believe it should be more part of judging and more of a punishment in place when you show up with weak calves.
Sir, do you think for a bodybuilder to be successful, he have to be a Mr. Olympia or any kind of Arnold Classic winner to be as successful as a bodybuilder?
Oh, I would go much further than that. First of all, it very much depends on from what part of the world are you. I know some guys, they never turned pro. They made a wonderful living. Thomas Scheu, German champions, I think it's 4 or 5 time world champion. El Sahad Mabruk, Hamdullah Kutluk. I mean, those guys are winning world championships. You know, they're winning them in many years in a row. So I think it's very important how you self-promote yourself. What country are you from? If you're from the United States, you gotta be a top pro. You know, nobody gives a damn you're winning at this time in history that you're winning a North American or American championship. You gotta compete as a pro. But if you're from India, you know,
Yeah.
I think Wasim, when I see what's going on around Wasim in India, I mean, he's like a superstar in India. You know, I mean, he won several Mr. Universe title in other federations, and I think he's doing just fine. So you don't have to be Mr. Olympia. You just have to really promote yourself as good as you can with whatever title you have.
Even I think Kai Green is an example of that. Kai Green.
Kai Green he's an absolute genius. Although I never know what he's saying, I listen to him for 5 minutes and there's still no clue what he just said. But he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, the guy is something else. I mean, I think I've never seen anything like it in bodybuilding since maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger when it comes to self-promoting. I think it would be almost stupid for him to even go back on stage. He's so big and so famous.
Sir, there is a famous topic right now that the debate is going on about plant-based versus meat diet. So what's your take on that? Do you think a bodybuilder can be made on a plain plant-based diet?
No. No, and no again. I know it's this new thing now. I think everybody wants to be something special. You know, everybody wants to have his own Kardashian show going on in his life. So the vegan thing, whatever is the new thing now. Just the amount of food you would have to eat to get the amount of protein you need to build this kind of muscle. It's just, you will be fat. And, you know, yes, if a Kai Green, who's already a super machine, if he's doing his vegan thing for a little while, he's not going to lose all his muscles in 10 minutes. I get that. But he didn't build that body with vegetable plants or whatever he does, you know, or he does now. Now, I think it's just some new thing. It just looks good on your Instagram profile. You find some new attention. You know, I do not believe that for 1 second.
Even Kai
You build
Green.
a body like mine, or you build a body like Dorian Yates or Ronnie Coleman's with plants. I do not believe, or beans or whatever that people eat there. You know, I mean, just simply the amount you have to eat is just too big. You fat. So no, I do not believe in that for 1 second.
Even I think plant-based diet have more carbohydrate than protein, and you are eating more carbohydrate than proteins, I think, and protein plays a role in building muscle.
Correct. So I would not waste a minute on that.
And yes, of course, right now after that movie Game Changers and Game Changers, Arnold and Kai Green are promoting it a lot. I think for that the guys are now thinking that we can make a elite level physique on a plant-based diet, which I think is never possible.
The two best self-promoters in the sport are now eating plants only. You know, they both. I mean, Arnold won 7 Mr. Olympia titles on what? On plants? I don't think so. You know, so it's okay if you believe in a certain health aspect, and there's a big part of the population which probably greatly benefits from eating less meat. I understand all that, but you ask me about crazy big bodybuilders and eating plants. No, I do not believe in it.
So I want to end
I
this.
can only hear the angry comments, you know, about the ignorant Swiss guy having no clue what he's talking about. I hear it already. I look forward to it.
Even the comments are right now. Everyone is thinking that what bullshit is this going on about plant-based diet. Some bodybuilders telling that I've been vegan from the time I've started, and I don't know what bullshit is going on. But I don't think that plant-based diet on a plant-based diet any provider can live like that and even complete.
I'm looking forward to seeing all those great physiques, you know, in the future. You know,
Yeah, on the Olympia stage.
can have exactly.
So I want to end this interview with asking you that when are you coming to India?
Well, I got a couple of really good clients in India, and I need to figure this out. Yeah, I need to talk to my guys in India. I would love to come to India. I mean, it's just it sounds like such an exotic place where you just never go.
Even we
to
have
when
a
you
very
live in
good
Europe.
expo going on 17 to 19 November, the IHFF, where many bodybuilders like Phil Heath, then Hardy Chupan, the current second runner-up,
Yeah.
and
So
I
when is
think
this expo?
I think I'm going. I don't know actually for the current schedule.
What's the date of that expo again?
17 to 19, I think. 17 to 19, yeah, 17 to 19.
November?
November 17 to 19, yeah.
Oh, that's a little
Mumbai.
bit too early. But I will come to India in the next 6-7 months, guaranteed.
That's very good thing because we all want to see you, one of the greatest mass monsters of all time. Thank you, sir, for giving
Thank
your
you.
valuable time. Thank you for this interview.
All right. Thank you, my friend. You know,
Yeah.
see you soon.